When I found the chemo bills in his gym bag next to condoms and cologne, I knew something was rotting, and it wasn't cancer. My husband Daniel was supposed to be 6 months into his treatment. Stage 2 lymphoma, he said. Not aggressive, but it would hit hard. That's how he'd put it, right before he shaved his head and started sleeping in until noon. Right before he got a second phone, just for appointments. Right before I started doing everything, work, bills, childcare, while he wasted away on the couch with his Netflix and Dramamine. Except I'd just cleaned out his gym bag before tossing it in the laundry. I didn't expect to find a folded-up pharmacy receipt from across town, labeled with Advil, men's vitamins, and KY jelly. And under that, a printout from an oncology clinic, one I didn't recognize, dated 2 days ago. But here's the kicker, I had been with him that day. He told me he'd thrown up in the parking lot and didn't want me coming inside, said it was too traumatic. I waited in the car. He came back pale, quiet, dramatic. And now I was holding a receipt for something completely different. My hands were shaking. I checked the address. Springville Cancer Center, not the hospital where he'd done all his intake, not the one that sent letters to our house. Something felt off. So I did the thing he always mocked me for. I Googled it. No such clinic existed. Not in our city, not in our zip, not in our state. I confronted him that night, calmly, like I was talking to a child with chocolate on his face, insisting he didn't eat the cake. "What's this?" I asked, tossing the paper onto his lap. Daniel barely glanced at it. Old referral, they never got back to me. It's dated 2 days ago. He rubbed his temples, sighing deeply. I didn't want to tell you. The doctor said there's a second tumor. They're moving me to a new center. Oh, really? Because I called them. His head whipped around. And they don't exist. I waited for a beat. His mouth opened, closed, rebooted. Then the performance began. He launched into this sob story about a research offshoot that, not publicly listed, how they're testing new protocols and require discretion. I just stared. "I'm your wife," I said flatly. "You expect me to believe you're hiding your treatment for my own good." "Yes," he said, "because it's terminal." That's when I threw up in my own mouth. The next day, I called his actual oncologist's office, the one he went to early on when this all started. I gave them my name, explained I was his spouse, asked for a copy of his most recent treatment plan. The woman on the phone hesitated. "I'm so sorry, ma'am, but Daniel Miller hasn't been seen here since his consult." I blinked, but we got the diagnosis, stage 2. Right, that was the consult, but he never returned for imaging or blood work. He's not receiving any active treatment from us. I felt the floor tilt. What about referrals? None. I hung up and sat there in my car for 10 minutes, engine running, heart galloping. He wasn't sick. He never was. By the time I got home, he was passed out on the couch, head shaved. Treatment blanket pulled to his chin, smelling faintly of cologne. I took his phone, the one he always kept face down. Locked. I grabbed his backup phone, the one he said was just for doctors. It wasn't locked. There were 3 messages from someone named K. "Dinner was amazing. Can't wait to pick up where we left off." Why can't you just fake chemo forever? She really believes it, huh? LMAO, you're evil. I snapped a photo of each one, sent them to my own phone. My hands were cold, numb. Then I called the number. It rang twice. Then picked up. "Babe," a woman's voice purred. I didn't speak. She paused. "Danny." Still nothing. Then I ended the call. I dropped the phone back on the couch, walked to the kitchen, and calmly poured a glass of water. My husband stirred groggily as I stood over him, glass in hand. "You forgot to change the name this time," I said. He blinked, "Huh. Her name in your phone. K isn't clever, Daniel, it's lazy." He bolted upright, suddenly sweating. I held up my phone, tapped the screen. "Want to hear what she said about your fake cancer?" He lunged for it. I sidestepped fast. "You lied to everyone," I said, "but especially me, while I was taking care of your laundry and pretending to mourn a man who never even got a goddamn IV." He opened his mouth to defend himself, but before he could speak, his real phone rang. Caller ID, Springview General Hospital. Oh, so maybe this one was real. I picked it up. Hello? A nurse answered. Hi, we're calling to confirm Mr. Daniel Miller's outpatient CT results pickup. Is this his emergency contact? I held the phone out so he could hear. Yes, I said slowly, I'm his wife. Great, she said. Just letting you know that there are no abnormalities on his scan. He's in perfect health. Tell him he can pick up his file anytime. I stared directly into his soul. Thanks, I whispered. I needed to hear that. Then I turned to Daniel and said, You better pack. You're going to need real medical help when I'm done with you. He didn't even try to deny it. Not after that phone call. He just sat there, deflated, his eyes darting from the walls to the floor to the empty water glass in my hand like he was calculating how fast he could run. You don't understand, he muttered finally. Oh no, I snapped. I understand perfectly. You faked cancer so you could lie on my couch, cheat on me, and let me wipe your imaginary vomit off the toilet rim. His jaw tightened. It wasn't like that. I threw the phone at the couch cushion next to him. Then what was it like, Daniel? Enlighten me. His face twisted into something between shame and exhaustion. And then he actually said, I didn't think you'd stay if I told you the truth. Let me backtrack for a second. Daniel and I had been married 4 years. No kids, just us and a mortgage and a now pointless IVF loan we were still paying off. He'd always been slippery, the kind of guy who had a reason for everything. Missed birthdays, work emergency, locked phone, company policy, lack of sex, stress, new underwear that I didn't buy, a deal at Macy. And I was always the sucker who nodded, smiled, and filled the fridge with Gatorade when he said he had chemo fatigue. Until now. Now I was done. I watched him stand up slowly, hands raised like I might hit him. You want to leave? I asked. He nodded mutely. Then do it, but first you tell me everything, right now. He hesitated. I stepped forward. Daniel, I swear to God, if I find out even one more piece of this from someone else. He cut me off. Her name is Kendall. Bingo. She works in marketing, he said. We met at the gym. I thought it was going to be nothing. You shaved your head for her, I said coldly. He flinched. She thought I looked hot or bald. You told me you were losing it from chemo, you sociopath. He winced. I didn't expect it to go that far, but when I saw how much you started doing for me, I mean laundry bills, everything, I panicked. I blinked, so instead of stopping the lie, you doubled down. He didn't respond, just looked away. What about your parents? I said, my voice sharper now. They sent you $1,000 last month. I told them I needed experimental treatment. Jesus Christ, Daniel. My heart was pounding so hard it felt like a drum in my throat. And Kendall, I asked, she thinks you're dying too. No. That stopped me. No, I echoed. He looked down at his feet. She thinks you are. I stared at him, blank, cold. He rushed to explain. She thinks I'm married to a woman who's terminal, that I can't leave you because you're sick, that I'm being strong by staying. I blinked slowly. You flipped it. I had to. You turned me into the terminal one. She wouldn't have stayed otherwise. Did she send me the flowers? He paused, then nodded. My mind went back to that weird bouquet I got last month. No card, just lilies. A get-well-soon arrangement with a note that said, Stay strong, beautiful. I thought maybe it was a coworker, or my aunt. I even posted it on Instagram and thanked whoever sent it. Oh my God, I whispered. I sat down, hard. I couldn't breathe. You let me think. I didn't mean for you to see it, he said quickly. She ordered it online. I posted it online, you moron, and you let me smile. You let me smile in front of a fucking death bouquet. He stepped forward. Look, I know I crossed a line. I stood up so fast the chair nearly toppled. No, Daniel, you didn't just cross a line. You lit it on fire and danced on the ashes. Later that night, I packed his things. Every last piece of him, shoved into trash bags and placed by the front door. He tried to say he'd go first thing in the morning, but I told him he wasn't spending another goddamn night under this roof. Where will I go? He asked. Maybe ask Kendall, I said. She thinks I'm your caregiver, he muttered. Perfect, I snapped, then tell her I died. He didn't respond. He left without another word. But the next morning, I got a notification. His chemo fundraiser was still live. $6,740 collected. Friends, family, coworkers. All donating. All sending prayers. All being lied to. So I posted. On Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Screenshots, the fake bills, the hospital call, the text from Kendall, even the bouquet. I ended it with one line. He lied to all of us. Please share so no one else gets manipulated. It went viral in under 12 hours. And by the 24-hour mark, I had a message request. From Kendall. Just one sentence. Can we talk? I think I'm pregnant. I stared at her message for a full 5 minutes, rereading the same 7 words. Can we talk? I think I'm pregnant. I felt nothing. Not shock, not jealousy, not even fear. Just numb. Because the real betrayal wasn't that he might have knocked up another woman. It was that I didn't even flinch at the thought. I messaged back. Sure, want to compare lies. She responded within minutes. I didn't know any of it was fake, I swear. I thought you were the one who was dying. Of course she did. We met in person the next day. I picked the coffee shop across from the hospital Daniel never actually visited. Felt symbolic. Kendall looked like every girl I used to hate in high school, flawless skin, effortless bun, yoga pants and AirPods like they were glued to her. But her face was wrecked. Puffy eyes, skin blotchy. A woman who just realized she was the side character in someone else's psychodrama. I didn't know he was married at first, she said, hands curled around her mug. He told me he was in a long-term thing with someone who had cancer, that you were his childhood best friend, and that you asked him to marry you for insurance. I blinked slowly. He made me sound like a terminal grifter. She swallowed. I only found your real name last week. He told me your first name was Kayla. My name is Rachel. She went pale. I'm sorry, she whispered. I didn't. You didn't ask questions. You just believed the guy who conveniently had a wife too sick to leave. Her eyes filled again. Then she reached into her purse. Look, I don't want anything from you, but I need you to see this. It was a manila envelope. Inside, a sonogram. And something else. A printout of Venmo transactions. Over $2,000, all from Daniel, sent to usernames like at Wellness Angel and at drpepper33. All with memo lines like, just in case face blowing a kiss. You promised you, delete the pic. That night in San Diego. SHHH kiss mark. I looked up. These aren't all you, I said. She shook her head, wiping her face. I asked him about them. He said they were bots. Then I reverse image searched Dr. Pepper 33. She's a doula in Nevada. I almost laughed. Of course he was paying random women to keep quiet. It wasn't just Kendall. It never was. Did you know he had a chemo fundraiser? I asked. Her eyes widened. I thought you did. I pulled out my phone, opened the page. Showed her his smiling face, head shaved, hoodie up, eyes solemn with the title, Fighting Lymphoma One Day at a Time. She covered her mouth. How much has he raised? Almost $7,000, I said, and I posted everything yesterday. She stared at me. So he's about to be very publicly roasted, I added. Then her hands went to her belly. Quietly, she said, I took 3 tests, I'm late. I'm not sure yet, but if it's his. I leaned forward. Kendall, if it's his and you keep it, I'll help you raise that child. But if you tell him, he'll manipulate it, weaponize it. You've seen what he does when people care about him. She didn't speak for a moment. Then she nodded. And said, he's not going to know. By the time I got home, Daniel had already tried to log into the fundraiser. Too late. The comments were ruthless. You lied to cancer patients. I donated my rent money. You're scum. My sister died of lymphoma. You're garbage. Fake fucker, hope karma hits hard. Then came the PayPal hold notice. The account was frozen, investigated for fraud. He called me 3 times. I didn't answer. Then he left a voicemail. Rachel, I know you're mad, but you don't understand what this is doing to me. Please, let's just fix it. You're my wife, you promised. I blocked him mid-plea. Then checked my email. A message from an address I didn't recognize. Subject line, you should know what else he lied about. Inside was a photo of Daniel in a wedding tuxedo, standing next to a different woman. Caption, you're not the only Mrs. Miller. I zoomed in 3 times before it sank in. That was Daniel, black tux. That stupid, crooked smile I used to think was charming, arm around a petite brunette in a white satin gown. Her dress was simple, but her ring wasn't. And she was kissing his cheek like she'd known him for years. Date stamped in the bottom corner, July 22nd. 3 months after our wedding anniversary. I stared at the email again. No message body, no sender name, just that subject line. You're not the only Mrs. Miller. I sat perfectly still for a moment, pulse pounding. Then I hit reply. Who are you? Within seconds. I'm his real wife, you're the side piece. I threw my phone across the room. It bounced off the couch and landed screen up, still glowing with her reply. I stormed into the kitchen, gripped the countertop, and let out a low, guttural scream. How many wives does one man need? I'd been lied to, cheated on, tricked into playing nurse to a cancer Daniel never had. And now, I find out I was never even the main character. Not even the original. I took a breath, picked up my phone, opened her message thread again. Prove it. She sent a photo of a marriage certificate, issued in Oregon, signed in 2019. A full year before Daniel, and I even met. Her name was Erica Walker Miller. And over the next hour, she dumped 4 years of screenshots into my inbox. Mortgage documents in both their names. Vacation selfies in Greece. A baby shower invitation from 2 years ago, though, according to her, she miscarried at 5 months. And finally, a police report from last year. Domestic disturbance, no arrest, but Daniel's name was right there on the form. She wrote, he disappears every 6 months, says he's traveling for work. Now I know he was with you. I had to sit down again. And just when I thought it couldn't get worse, she sent one last message. I found your Facebook through his fundraiser. Just FYI, he's been telling people you ran the whole thing. My blood ran cold. I checked the GoFundMe again. Sure enough, someone had commented, Rachel, how could you lie about something this serious? I hope the money goes to actual cancer patients. He'd blamed me. Publicly, privately, thoroughly. He turned me into the con artist. My name, my face. My goddamn tears on video, sitting beside him on the couch while he held a box of tissues and said, Babe, tell them what the doctor said today. I wanted to throw something. Then another thought landed like a freight train. If Erica was the legal wife, was our marriage even valid? I called my cousin Lena, who's a lawyer. After explaining the entire mess, she paused and said flatly, if he never divorced her, you're not technically married. At best, your marriage is voidable. At worst, you're the other woman. Even if I didn't know. Doesn't matter, but it does mean you could sue him. For what? Bigamy, fraud, emotional distress. And if the fundraiser money went through your name, tax fraud. Awesome. I hung up and stared at the wall. Was I really going to sue a man who faked cancer, ran multiple marriages, and told another woman I was dying? Then I remembered the messages from his fundraiser. The people who gave money. The kid who commented he donated $40 from his birthday. Yeah, I was going to sue the fuck out of him. That night, Erica and I had a video call. We were strangers, but not really. We'd both cried over the same man. Both been lied to in different, sickening ways. She showed me pictures of him playing guitar in their living room. I showed her a receipt from the hospital Daniel claimed had misdiagnosed him. We traded stories like scars. At one point, we both laughed. Hard. Like Ugly cried laughing. Because after everything. She said, you know what the wildest part is? What? I still love him. My throat closed. But I understood. I hated that I understood. She looked away. Don't worry, she added. I'm divorcing him, I just needed to say it out loud. And then she said something else. I think there's one more woman, and I think she's pregnant too. I didn't sleep. Erica had dropped that last bomb like it was casual, like we were just swapping fun facts about a walking tumor in a hoodie. But that single sentence, I think she's pregnant too, had sunk claws into my brain. 2. Do you mean Kendall? I asked, already knowing the answer. Erica shook her head. No, different one. Someone named Sabrina. I saw her texting him when he was in the shower last week. She sent a picture of a test. Positive, 2 pink lines. Daniel the fucking fertile. By morning, I'd built an Excel sheet. Yes, really. Column A, woman's name. Column B, year she met Daniel. Column C, relationship lie. Column D, baby status. Column E, money sent. Column F, screenshot links. There were 6 women, minimum. 2 marriages, 1 confirmed pregnancy. Another possible, 3 Venmo payoffs, 1 fundraiser, 1 police report, and me, the glue in the middle of a full-blown sociopathic spiderweb. Lexi came over at noon. She sat down, looked at the spreadsheet, and said, "You know what this needs." What? She clicked insert and added a new column, legal outcome. Then she said, "I hope this ends with him in fucking jail." That night, I got a DM. Not from Kendall, not from Erica. Someone new. "Hey, you don't know me, but I'm Sabrina. I saw your name in the fundraiser comments. I think we need to talk." I froze. Messaged back. "Are you pregnant?" "Yes, he doesn't know yet." I stared at my screen, then sent her my number. The phone rang 30 seconds later. Sabrina had the voice of someone who just had every assumption ripped out from under her. Quiet, careful, like saying anything too loud might break her brain. She told me Daniel said I was his ex who faked a marriage certificate, that Kendall was just a coworker, that Erica had stolen his documents and made up the Oregon license, and that he was recovering from his second round of chemo. Sabrina had been buying him vitamins, cooking for him, driving him to appointments. But now she couldn't find any record of him at her local hospital. "I thought I was being paranoid," she whispered, but something felt off. I took a deep breath. "Sabrina, I know this is hard, but you're not crazy, you're part of a pattern, and you're not alone." Then I asked, "Do you want to join the lawsuit?" She didn't answer right away. Then she said, "I want him to feel everything he made us feel." Within 3 days, we had a group chat. Daniel's Wives Club. Me, Erica, Kendall, Sabrina, and another woman named Jeline, who had donated $500 to his GoFundMe and later found him on Bumble claiming to be a widower. Every single one of us had proof. And every single one of us wanted blood. Erica's divorce lawyer agreed to represent us for the fraud and bigamy charges. Sabrina was filing for a protective order. Turns out she caught Daniel watching her sleep one night and whispering someone else's name. And I posted the spreadsheet, blurred out names, kept the financials, uploaded the Venmo screenshots, the fake chemo invoices, the conflicting wedding dates, and the ultrasound. With the caption, "This isn't a story about heartbreak, it's a case file, and we're done playing nice." It went viral in 3 hours. Dan the Disease trended on Twitter. TikTok stitched my post into hundreds of videos. Girls started sharing their own horror stories about manipulative exes. A major women's podcast reached out to interview us. Even the fundraiser platform responded publicly. "We've permanently banned the user. All affected parties will be contacted and refunded." But the real cherry. I got a call from Erica at midnight, breathless. "You're not going to believe this," she said. "What?" "He got served at his job, in front of everyone." I blinked. "He has a job." "Well," she said, he's fired now." And then, in the background, I heard her daughter giggle. My heart stopped. "You have a daughter." Erica paused. "That's the last thing I need to tell you." "She's 3, Erica said quietly. "Her name's Avery, and until yesterday I thought Daniel was her father." The room tilted. I sat down. "What do you mean, thought?" She exhaled long and heavy. "After everything with you, Sabrina, Kendall, I got paranoid. I took her in for a DNA test. I knew what she was about to say before she said it. It came back negative. I closed my eyes. Daniel's not her father. No, she whispered, but here's the part that doesn't make sense, he knew. What? I found the same results, dated 2 years ago, hidden in our garage. He already knew he wasn't her biological dad, and he never said a word. He still tucked her in, still called her his girl. Still made me feel guilty for every bad moment in the pregnancy. Erica's voice broke on that last sentence. He lied even when he didn't have to. That was the moment I stopped feeling confused, or curious, or even sad. That was the moment I felt rage. Because Daniel wasn't just a liar, or a cheater, or a con artist. He was a parasite, feeding off women's empathy, resources, trust, and twisting their most private vulnerabilities into emotional leverage. And he was about to face all of us. 2 weeks later, we had our court date. It wasn't criminal, yet, but it was civil fraud, identity falsification, and bigamy rolled into one tight, flaming ball of poetic justice. Lexi came with me, so did Sabrina, visibly pregnant now. Kendall brought printouts. Erica brought the divorce papers. And Jeline, the quietest of the group, brought receipts, literal Venmo receipts with captions like, "For Chemo snacks read. Keep fighting, babe. Love you always, D." Daniel showed up in a wrinkled suit with a public defender and a fake limp. I kid you not. He limped into the courtroom like he thought anyone would believe he was still recovering from treatment. Even the judge looked annoyed. The hearing itself only lasted 40 minutes. But those 40 minutes changed everything. We each gave statements, told our stories, submitted documents. Daniel tried to rebut us, said we were bitter exes conspiring to ruin his life. Then Erica held up a signed wedding license from 2 years before my marriage to him. And I held up the hospital's denial letter, confirming he was never a patient. Then Sabrina stood, turned to the judge, and said, "I'm having his child. I deserve to know the truth of who he is, and so does this baby." Silence. The judge leaned forward and said slowly, "I'm recommending this case for criminal referral, and I'm freezing all of Mr. Miller's assets pending outcome." Daniel turned gray. He stood up, shouted something incoherent, then collapsed back into his chair. This time, no one helped him up. Outside the courthouse, we took a photo. All of us, lined up like survivors at the end of an apocalypse. Lexi joked, "You should frame this, title it The Girls He Could Kill." I laughed, even as tears ran down my face. That night, I posted one final update. With the spreadsheet. With the group photo. With the court transcript link. And with one sentence at the end. He didn't break us, he collected us, but now we're free. The post got 3 million likes in 24 hours. A journalist reached out. Netflix called. Lexi said, "If they cast Sydney Sweeney as you, I'm going to scream." And then, a DM landed in my inbox. No name. No avatar. Just one line. "You think it's over, it's not." I clicked the profile. Brand new, no posts. But the location tag. Manila, Philippines. My stomach dropped. I called Erica. "Sabrina's with you, right?" "Yeah, she's napping. Why?" I took a breath. "Do you know if Daniel's ever been out of the country?" Erica was silent. Then she whispered, "Oh my God." "What?" "He used to disappear for a few weeks every December. He said it was for spiritual retreats. I never asked where." I checked my phone again. Another message had just arrived. From the same profile. A photo this time. Blurry but unmistakable. Daniel shirtless, holding a toddler. Caption: "This is just the American chapter." I dropped my phone. Lexi was mid-bite of a protein bar when she saw my face and snatched it from the floor. "Who the hell is this?" she muttered, scrolling through the anonymous DMs. The photo was unmistakable. Daniel barefoot standing on a dusty tile floor, no shirt, a towel slung over one shoulder, and a child, maybe 2 or 3, clinging to his leg. There was a woman blurred in the background, and a Christmas tree. Lexi zoomed in. "That's not from last year. Look, decorations are 2021. You can tell from the damn COVID ornaments. I just stared. He has another family, I said, my voice flat. I didn't say anything to the group chat until I confirmed it. I ran the photo through reverse image search. Nothing. Then I checked airline records from Erica's shared account. Daniel had booked 3 flights to the Philippines over the past 6 years. Then I found the match that cracked it all open. A wedding registry in Tagalog, with Daniel's face slightly older. Name, Danilo Reyes Miller. Wife, Myra S. Cruz. Date, December 2020. I sent it to the group. Jeline wrote, "He's a goddamn international con artist." Erica just replied, "I'm going to be sick." But Kendall, who'd been mostly quiet, responded with a screenshot from a Filipino parenting forum. It was a post from someone named Mira Ray Mommy. Husband left for US to work again, promised he'd be back by February. No calls since October. Anyone know how to file missing person report if you're not married on paper? And attached, a photo. The same tree. The same child. Same tile floor. Same towel over the shoulder. That was the final click in the lock. The illusion was broken, not just for us, but for her. Sabrina was the one who reached out. She Myra with one line. "He lied to you, and we can prove it." It took 36 hours. Then Myra replied with a voice note, crying so hard you could barely hear her words. She thought she was the only one. She believed he'd built a life in the States to support them. He sent her wire transfers, promised visas, promised a house. He said he was married on paper to Kendall to get health care, that Sabrina was his cousin, that Erica was dangerous and abusive. She believed all of it. Until us. Until the spreadsheet. Until she saw my wedding photo and Erica's ultrasound. She didn't want revenge. She wanted proof. So we gave it to her. Every file, every statement, every receipt. Myra was the one who filed the final report with Interpol. 1 month later, Daniel was arrested. At LAX. Trying to board a flight to Manila. He had fake prescriptions, forged medical records, and 3 burner phones in his luggage. And a fake mustache in his carry-on. No, really. He's being held without bail. The charges: wire fraud, identity fraud, marriage fraud, child abandonment, and impersonating a medical patient for financial gain. They're still unraveling how deep it goes. Turns out he used 7 different last names, claimed disability, collected checks, claimed dependents that didn't exist. The news ran it. The podcast covered it. And a documentary crew just asked if we'd be willing to film a limited series. But honestly, I don't want fame, I want quiet. The only noise I want is Lexi clinking glasses with me on a rooftop bar, Sabrina laughing while baby Ava kicks in her stomach, and Erica teaching Avery how to spell accountability. I'll never get those years back. Never undo the nights I rubbed Daniel's fake chemo, soreness, or held his hand at invented appointments. Never forget the moment I believed my world was safe, when it was actually being hollowed out from the inside. But I do get this. I get closure. I get community. I get to say out loud to anyone who doubts their instincts, if something feels wrong, it probably is. Even if he's charming, even if you're in love, even if there are photos and memories and plans. Lies don't care about those things. But the truth doesn't need you to believe in it. It finds its way anyway. Has anyone else had their entire life rewritten by one medical result?